little spoiler alert. Velja goes 11-1 this game. Even though in this situation, he is having to give on the bot side, right? And I always talk about this. I always talk about the fact that League is not just how good you can be when you have winning lanes. Jungling is how good you can play when you actually have losing lanes, when you don't have prio, when you have to give stuff. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Jungle Gap. Coach Leo here. And today I'm very excited, especially for these types of videos. I'm always excited about analyzing really great players. And in today's video, we are covering Velja. He just hit rank 1. Take a look at this insane tier graph. You know, he's just gaining thousands of LP every single day and every single month. And not only are we going to be analyzing Velja and his rank 1, he is currently rank 2, but he did hit rank 1. We are also going to be covering a game where he versed NattyNatt, who was formerly rank 1 in Korea. He had an absolutely insane run. And so why this video is going to be so incredible, and I'm so excited to make it, is because we're going to be analyzing both junglers' perspectives. We're going to see two solo queue titans go face to face. We're going to be analyzing their decision making. We're going to be breaking down the fundamentals, the mindset, and everything that goes into, jungling, and maybe that you can apply some of this into your own game. So without further ado, let's get straight into the in-depth breakdown of this game. If you don't know who I am, my name is Coach Leo. I am an ex-pro player and challenger jungler, and for the past year, I've been helping hundreds of players just like you achieve their rank goals. If reaching your potential is something you are interested in, you can check the links in the description below. Alrighty guys, jumping into the game now, the very first thing that I want to talk about is of course the game plans and how each jungler is thinking about pathing level 1. And something that I always like to, I especially in my coaching sessions and when I coach players that are starting to get this Emerald, Diamond, Master, Grandmaster, Challenger, MMR, and of course this applies to all ranks. So don't think, watching this video you're not going to learn anything from. Of course, this video is going to be filled with, fundamentals and things that you can apply in your own games. But yeah, let's just go through firstly what Velja's game plan is in this game. So typically what I like to talk about is, you want to path to where you think you can get a kill, especially when you're playing a champion. This is to do with also champion identities and stuff like that. So Velja is playing Naafiri. Okay, Naafiri is I would like to see her as kind of an assassin. She's really likes starting raptors. She really likes doing 8 camp. She really likes potentially doing some cheesy plays like this, invading and doing this, and then maybe getting involved because there is a Nautilus bot lane and a Karma bot lane. So let's quickly analyze the lanes, right? And what I like to say is, well, you should ask yourself every game, which is where do I think I can get a kill? And this usually comes down to a few things. It comes down to the volatility, which are things such as runes, summoner spells. If someone has like Conqueror or Comet or PTA and they have Ignite, usually that's kind of screaming volatility. Volatility is also just damage. So if you have like Brand versus Xerath bot, that is screaming volatility, but also volatility can be, hook champions or all-in champions, such as Sylas versus Katarina mid. That's going to be volatile, right? Or Nautilus versus Pyke. That's going to be volatile. So if we take a look at the lanes here, right? And we take a look at what are Velja's options in this game. So in the top lane, we have Maokai versus Na. And sometimes people would actually kind of stay away from this lane because they think, oh, it's just a Maokai, like what is Maokai even going to do for me in this game? But the thing that you always have to kind of realize is that even if it's just you getting first blood top, that is still an option that you really want to think about. And, Maokai is a tank and he has really good gank setup. And Na early is actually really, really easy to kill, considering if he's not Mega Na. Okay, so that is definitely a potential area for Velja to explore. Mid lane as well. Okay, Ryze has really, really good gank setup. And like I said before about volatility, Ignite and Electrocute. So these are volatile rune setup, rune and summoner spell setup from the Quinn. Ryze has phase rush and a lot of mobility, but obviously he can still set up the gank. And then finally, bot lane. We have Nautilus versus Karma. So usually when you think about bot lane, you do kind of want to think about the support. And I would say that this is typically this is an all-in kill lane, and the enemy have a poke lane or a push lane. So when you have like range support versus melee, for you as Velja this game, you want to be playing to gank, because if you leave this lane alone to push and to poke, this lane is going to kind of just eventually lose, right? So it's kind of Velja's job to protect his bot lane. Oh, sorry. It's Velja's job to gank the enemy bot lane here, but it's actually NattyNatt's job to kind of protect them and shadow them, okay? And so what's interesting that we'll have to see this game is, now, if you are below the rank of like Emerald, just part the bot this game and just kill the enemy bot lane, okay? Like, do some creative stuff. Like I said, Raptors into invade, into gank bot as Velja here. And if you're on the opposite end, okay, so now let's talk about, so I think Velja has the options of 8 camping. He has the option of actually killing the Gnar, killing the mid. He actually has a lot of options this game. It is quite adaptable. Now let's talk about NattyNatt's game plan. Okay, so we flip the side here. We're going to the red side. And as NattyNatt in this game, like I just said, right, your job is to probably, again, also a champion identity as Mundo. You're basically just going to full clear. You're not really going to be having many options to like level 3 gank or anything like that. So Velja's, NattyNatt's job in this game is most likely to just path towards bot and play to his strong bot lane, his priority bot lane, his pushing bot lane. That should be his game plan. Pathing towards top, yeah, it's the same thing with Gnar. So Gnar again is like a push and a poke lane, right? But I think the bot lane just takes priority in this case. And generally as Mundo, you always just want to path the bot, stack drags. That is kind of like your champion, your identity, your win con. So it's interesting to see how both of these junglers here are going to play to both of those things in the early game. Again, Velja here kind of has all of the adaptability, and I think NattyNatt here is a little bit more locked in to his game plan. It's a lot less like versatile. It's a lot less. Okay, so the first thing that we're actually going to analyze here, right? Let's just untick this for a second. So both junglers are using their trinkets level 1, and this is something that I have preached for a very, very long time, guys. Whenever you play a game, try and use your trinket either to ward the enemy Raptors to get some information, or to ward the opposite side that you're starting on. And like I said, NattyNatt is very aware that Velja's play can be Raptors, blue, Gromp into killing his push and poke bot lane. So this ward is extremely, extremely important for NattyNatt. Extremely. And for Velja's also, I think he also used his ward level 1 to just scout where the Mundo is pathing to, right? Like he's just walking in here, he's actively walking in here, he's warding. And also, right, the Orianna, the Queen is also warding for Mundo here as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on level 1 here. Because again, Velja also has the option of just starting the enemy Raptors and maybe Raptors into killing the Mundo when he starts the red buff. Because, you know, typically when you verse, you guys maybe have had it to you before. When you verse Kayn, when you verse Nefiri, all of these Raptor starting champions, they have a lot of, things that they can potentially do. So we're going to be analyzing this round by round, guys. We're going to be taking a look at what both junglers are doing. I'm going to be flipping between the sides of Fog of War. What does one guy see? What does the other guy see? How does one guy react to information? And how does the other guy react to information based on what they see? Okay. So in this case, you can see that Velja is actually starting the Raptor camp. And of course, this is a very smart option because it gives him the most, like I just said, there was volatility everywhere, right? And I think the main reason why Velja does not just go for a standard clear down is, now in high elo, games tend to play out a little more how they should, right? Like, of course, in your games, most likely, games will not play out how they should. But in this game, the enemy bot lane should have push, the Mundo should path down, the bot scuttle should be theirs, and nothing should really happen. There has to be something very, very creative that actually can happen here for the enemy bot lane to actually get punished unless they're just inting. So you'll see, I'll kind of get to the point where like, yeah, this lane should kind of be, it is in Velja's best interest to gank this, but in high elo, people are playing better. And for example, the enemy bot lane are warding, right? They're actually playing the game kind of properly, I guess you could say. Okay. So yeah, Velja's doing actually a good thing here. He's starting Raptors and he's kind of leaving all his options open. Okay, so as you can see here, very, very standard stuff. Velja is pathing towards the top side and Mundo's pathing towards the bot side, as we just saw. And so once again, yeah, like I said, Velja starting the Raptors gives him many options. It actually gives him all the options that we talked about. It gives him the option of the gank on top. It gives him the option of scuttle into cross gank mid into taking his Raptors, his Krugs, and also still playing towards bot lane on a timer that Mundo will not be covering. That's another thing about this path, that if he was pathing to bot right now, just take a look at the situation for him, for Velja, right? The situation is cooked here because the enemy bot lane is playing how it should. They ward, the Mundo plays towards them. And so in this case, it's interesting, that the Nautilus side actually has to like sack a little bit. And, I did watch this game. I watched Velja's game of this stream and he said, I'm just going to play for myself. And Raptor start is also really good. 8 camping is also really good when you just want to also just play for yourself. Okay, interesting. Instant base here from Velja. Why is that? The reason for that is because he's understanding how he's going to use his time, right? So the Raptors are spawning in 20 seconds. So if he went to gank top or if he went to gank mid, he would be, well, he wouldn't be late per se to the Raptor camp. Okay, maybe if he ganked top, he would be. But he's just basically seeing no opportunity here, right? He's basically saying, I want to use my base as the, you know, he has a bit of spare time here before his Raptors spawn. And he's just saying, I want to be as strong as I possibly can for that Raptor clear, right? So he's not actually doing an 8 camp. He's not actually, his clear was pretty quick here. He smites it. He immediately bases. So great use of tempo here in the first round. Let's see what Mundo does. Mundo is also instantly basing after his first round. Why is that? He gets the Scuttle Crab, insta-base. Insta-base because there's nothing else to do. Let me see. They also both do not have Trinket. In this case, it's pretty interesting that NattyNatt decides to insta-base it because he is going to be too early to this, right? So if he bases here, I think his plan is to use his spare tempo on top side. So let's see if that's true, right? Because he's basing very early here. Okay, so, you know, we see the Mundo piling towards the top side now. The Neferi perfectly times his tempo here, which, as I said, he's using up his tempo very, very well here. Really great pings as well. You know, the pings coming out of Neferi here, right? The really, really good just danger pings on tracking the Mundo here. And also, NattyNatt did the same thing on the Raptors here. He was pinging, hey, the Neferi might be here. Okay, action happening mid. So I just want to quickly take a look at what NattyNatt did. I think he just postured towards the top side. He kind of helped this. Yeah, as I said, he used his spare time here. And then immediately when his Krug spawned, he's back at his Krug. So you see both junglers, they have the spare tempo and the regular tempo mindset. When their camps are up, they will only do things that are giving them more than the camp, or they're only doing high percentage things. So, for example, here, like, NattyNatt is not going to, like, force any play here, aside from just taking his Krugs, unless it's guaranteed. So he'll only go for, like, this top gank, for example, if this is, like, 90% chance to work. If not, you see he immediately, as soon as his camp spawn, makes the change here to just stay on tempo. And, you know, that's what it's called. It's called staying on tempo. So, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so Velja makes a bit of a fishing play here on mid. Okay, and the Mundo kind of should recognize that. I mean, there's nothing really like... The fact that Velja is skipping his Krugs here means that he thinks that this play... And, of course, it's not as black or white. You know, if you're low elo, I think sticking to the rules of this is really, really good. But he's still gaining something here, right? He's going to get the plate. There is a chance he can kill this guy. You know, so I think him fishing here is about a little bit about the creativity, and, you know, he can just go back to his Krugs. So I think this play is pretty good. Pretty good awareness as well of him seeing the Quinn's health. And so back to his camps. And he doesn't really care about, you know, hitting this way and alerting the enemy ball in, because there's just no play here. They already know that he showed mid. He already kind of made his move. And he's just, you know, he's maximizing that time to, you know, get some vision. Now he's on the Krugs. So it'll be very interesting to see what he does after this play, right? So his topside camps are spawning here. Something else that is spawning soon is the drag in 40 seconds. And we know that Mundo is just clearing down. So for me here, I think Velja does not really have any play here. Maybe sitting behind like his bot lane is a good play and then recalling, he could do that. But also he doesn't really have much gold here anyway. So I would suspect he just runs to his topside here. Again, if you have nothing else to do here, you see that immediately, right? It's the immediate, he's not looking at this play because he does not deem this play a high percentage play compared to, you know, because this is his regular time. This is his camps up time. When you have camps to farm, the play that you go for, no matter what it is, if you go for this bot gank, if you go for this Drake, if you go for this Gromp invade, if you go for any play here when your camps are up here, these all need to be like 90% chance, yes, will work, will work, will work, will work. How do we know that this plays will be 90%? Okay, maybe this play on invading his Gromp here is 90% because Mundo showed top. Maybe this gank on bot lane is 90% because they have no summoner spells and they're 1-8 and they're half HP and they're all pushed up here. This is the thing about great jungling. This is all what it's about, especially in the early game. How are you going to maximize your time? You can see I go on about it every single video pretty much. How are you going to maximize the efficiency of your time? Your time as a jungler is a resource. If you compare a challenger player to a gold player's time usage, you will see a very, very big difference. And that is the main difference. Obviously, there's also execution of mechanics and stuff like that. Okay, so let's take a quick peek here at what NattyNatt is doing with his spare time. So For me, I would expect NattyNatt to really play for the Drake here, and I actually think it's a mistake that he does not have like a pink or a sweeper here to actually control the dragon side, because he does know that the enemy Neferi is piling up here. So I actually think this is a mistake from Natty. I think that Natty should actually have, let me see if he could have bought a pink out of base. I'm actually not sure. No, he couldn't buy a pink, but I definitely think he should switch to sweeper here. 100%. Obviously, I think if you have a ward and you didn't place your ward, I do think wards are not useless. But he also had information that Neferi piled towards the top side. So Dragon should really be on the cards here. And as you can see, sneak peek. Sneak peek, he actually does end up getting the Drake. But let's go back to that round where he just cleared to bot side. So Mundo is just finishing the Gromp here now. And he is now in his spare time, right? So just so you guys are aware of like what's happening. Velja went to his top side camps, he farmed them, and Mundo went to his bot side camps, right? And he just finished his bot side camps, and both junglers now are on spare time. So watch how both of them use their spare time. Look, first thing that Velja does, or that NattyNatt does, is ward this bush. So a lot of the times, right, I will see junglers just instantly base maybe here. Sometimes I will just see junglers just base it. But you got to think about how you're going to use your spare time. For Mundo, again, like I said, if he had sweeper, that would be sweeping wards here. That would be sweeping control and getting control of this area. What he does is also really good. He places a ward here, but it's just trying to maximize your time. Your base timer is this camp right here. So you can literally do whatever you want. You can just run bot and start throwing cleavers, right? You can run to here and ward his Krugs or ward his Raptors or run mid and help mid push out. Like you need to use your tempo here. And that's also another reason why you deciding where you want to path to is an important thing, because every time that's like your round, you full clear, you use your spare tempo on that side. You get an advantage, you recall, you full clear. Now, because they have no flash, you can gank them because that's where you're investing your time, okay? So let's just watch how this plays out. So both junglers are quite aware of the fact that Mundo may want to do the dragon, right? Like a lot of pings going out on the bot side. You can see here that Velja actually doesn't instantly base here. He's like, okay, I really don't want to give this Drake for free, even though it kind of should be Natty's Drake. It should be the Mundo's Drake. Velja's like, I wonder if I can, again, use my spare time here. But this is also another really big thing, right? Is that it's this first or the second scuttle spawn. Okay, really, really great junglers see this scuttle spawn every single game. So this is the second scuttle spawn. Both junglers, or in your games as well, if the game is kind of like nothing's really happening, this should be basically the objective, right? This scuttle spawn is the objective, and this is the very, very normal time when it spawns. For example, for Natty, full clear. Take bot scuttle, reset, full clear. Now this scuttle will spawn on either side. So very, very interesting timer here for both junglers. And both junglers are here. And NattyNatt is the one that kind of, he really, really forced or popularized this idea of prioritizing this second scuttle spawn really, really hard. That's what I learned, who I learned it from. Because this actually gives either jungler level 6 here as well. Okay, you see this? So this is something that you can do in your games, 100%. The second scuttle spawn, level 6 timer. If you full clear twice and you have one of the first scuttles, you will hit 6 from this scuttle here. Boom, boom. Look at their XP. One camp, 6. Okay, Velja contests. He realizes that no good. So you can see here as well. Okay, little spoiler alert. Velja goes 11-1 this game. Even though in this situation, he is having to give on the bot side, right? And I always talk about this. I always talk about the fact that League is not just how good you can be when you have winning lanes. Jungling is how good you can play when you actually have losing lanes, when you don't have prio, when you have to give stuff, right? This is really impressive stuff that Velja here, you know, has to give these things and still kind of like accepts the cards he's been dealt. Like that's the mindset of it, right? He's accepting the cards he's been dealt. Mundo ends up actually going for the bot play over the dragon. Let's analyze that. So this dragon for me here, 100% is NattyNatt's Drake, right? It's 100% his Drake here. However, very, very actually good play from NattyNatt. He recognizes that his team is actually doing a play bot. And so the thing is, if he starts Drake here and he gets no help from his team, there is a chance that like Ryze and Neferi can contest him here. So he is actually adapting to what his team is doing. And this is something that you especially need to do when you jungle. You cannot just have this mindset of, oh, we should have taken, you know, we should have done the Drake here, guys. Like, why did we do this play? You have to be live updating yourself on what is actually happening. And I remember Velja saying, I don't know why they didn't take Drake here. This was free Drake. And I was like, yeah, that's quite interesting. But now when I'm seeing the replay here, I'm realizing, hey, what NattyNatt does here is actually the correct play. Okay, in my books, not following your team, sorry. not following your team, but adapting to what your team is doing is incredibly important. So his bot lane is trolling here, right? Like Natty's bot lane here is just trolling. So, but he's adapting to it. And he is also influencing this with his level 6 from the crab. Now, look at this. Look at this, guys. He instantly bases. Why is that? Just take a look here. Keeping good tempo. That's it. So it's very, very important, right? When I reviewed the Canyon game as well, this is something that I really, really talked a lot about. Instantly bases does not do Drake here. Remember that your move is one or the other. You're either going to go for the Drake after the scuttle, or you're going to go for the bot play. You cannot do both generally. Okay, I say generally because there's going to be some cases where your bot lane condition is really good still, and your top side camps are maybe have not spawned yet. But honestly, if your top side camps are spawning here, you always just want to base, overdoing the Drake. Very common mistake, especially lower elos, overforcing the dragon, okay? Overforcing the Drake. Now, look at this. NattyNatt's vision. Okay, NattyNatt's vision here is what creates this ability to, and also here, there's actually a lot going on here, which is very, very fascinating. Number one, when Mundo or NattyNatt leaves his strong side, he leaves behind vision, whether that's on Drake or whether that's, you know, around the area of Drake. So this is so when he passes to his weak side camps, he knows what Velja is doing. But Velja also knows NattyNatt is basing here, and he's trying to kind of make a creative play to sneak the dragon, right? But in my opinion, in both cases here, I think both him and Velja should have, well, actually Velja should definitely have sweeper, but NattyNatt, honestly, him keeping his ward here is actually pretty nice. But you know, the discussion about sweeper versus ward is one that I've had many times, and most of the time when I watch the best Korean junglers play, usually the first 1, 2, or third round, they will use their trinkets, and then they will switch to sweeper by the third round. Like most of the 99% of the time, they will do that. Okay, so that's very interesting. But yeah, the whole situation is very interesting here in terms of this like chess game between both junglers, and you know, like what both junglers can do is very interesting. Okay, so let's see how NattyNatt actually reacts to this. So you can see here, immediate match, right? Immediately does not go to his topside camps here. And the only reason he can actually do this play here is because he has vision. If he did not have vision, he should never run here on a guess. Okay, you never run here on a guess. It just is what it is. If the Neferi takes the Drake here, it is what it is. But because Natty, once again, it's the idea of when my camps are up versus when my camps are down. If I have camps to farm here, whatever I do needs to be a 90% play. Okay? Yeah, and then a million pings should come up here. And the mistake from Velja is, again, doing dragon without knowing. When you try and sneak drags, guys, you need to know that the enemy do not have vision. You need to have a pink. You need to have a sweep. If Natty had a sweep here, not only, well, he may get Drake, but the thing is, if Natty has a sweep here, he can sweep this ward here as he walks in anyway here. Let's say he wants to jump over the wall, so he sweeps here. He can sweep this wall, jump over the wall, and instantly recall. What does that do, guys? What does that do? That actually makes Mundo run here thinking he's on it, but he's actually not on it. And then he wastes Mundo's time. Like, it's pretty insane, like, the amount of mind games you can play. I'm not going to go too much into detail of it. I'm getting pretty excited, of course, about it. But let's just see what happens. There are a lot of chess games you can play as jungle, which makes this role so fun. So yeah, he just matches here. This is the match or trade mindset as well, guys. Whenever someone starts an objective, if you can make it there, which is generally at 6 minute streak, this is the idea of match, or trade. So for Natty here, he either wants to go and trade, which is nothing to trade, or he wants to match. You always want to match when you're stronger, and you're always stronger if the enemy person starts the Drake. Okay? So there's going to be some occasions here where like Velja starts the dragon here, and he actually can take the Drake because maybe he has bot push, maybe he has mid push, maybe he has a lot of help. I won't go too much into that, but there are some cases where he could have done the Drake here. This is one where he was trying to sneak it. And now what's interesting for Natty is that his camps are spawning kind of weird now, right? He initially, he wants to part towards the bot side, but look what he does here. Once again here, a very common thing that I see when I coach. Players will want to really, so Mundo is a structured champion, right? Mundo, he really loves this structure of full clear to bot, recall when these camps spawn. But this is an interesting timer, right? Where His bot side camps are actually already starting to spawn here. And what I'll see a lot of the time when I coach is players actually either recalling to run back to their top side after this play or running to their Krugs, guys. Don't be inefficient to try and be efficient. So, for example here, Natty is just going to take his camps now because they're just in front of him, right? And it's not the be-all, end-all if you end up just pathing up here instead, which you can see is what happens, okay? So let's go back to Velja now. So Velja, yeah, Velja's tempo got a little bit hit from this, right? Like he also has not based yet, I don't think, right? He has 1300 gold, but since he missed his base timer, he is now just committing to the greed. What does that mean? He's just going to commit now to 1, 2 into base, most likely. Okay. So, oh, he will just stay actually. He'll stay for his blue as well. So everything lines up. So the major thing here, guys, is like, you can see the efficiency of the players, right? They're not being inefficient. They're not, oh, I have 900 gold here, I need to base. They're just simply saying, this is also because there's no objectives, even though the grubs are spawning in 10 seconds. This is just where you can be greedy or when you should just do whatever is best for you. Okay, a lot of the times, just farming efficiently, like both of their camps here, right? If we look at the timers here on the map, both of their camps here are just spawning in a nice line up like this, right? Both of them are doing this, and it just makes sense, okay? It just makes sense to just farm there. The best time that you want to base as jungle is when you're not losing anything. When are you not losing anything? When all the camps are down, when the objectives are down, right? That's when you're not needed to be on the map. So, yeah, the best time to base is when your camps are down because the camps are, you know, ticking down. You can almost see basing as like a spare time job. You know, when you have spare time, when you have nothing else to do, basing is really, really good. Okay, so, you know, we do know Mundo is piling up now. Velja obviously doesn't know that for sure. He doesn't know that for certain. And you can see here as well, again, Velja has 1600 gold here. Okay, so it's going to be very interesting to see what he does. And why he has 1600 gold here, guys, is because he got punished for starting the Drake. Okay, he got punished for starting the Drake. That's why he is a little bit, that's why he missed his base timer, basically. So your moves have consequences. The consequence here is that he's on 1600 gold, he's on top side. Very interesting play that's about to happen, I think. So a lot of the time, like, okay, now his Raptors are spawning in 12 seconds. Top lane has really, really good gank setup, and we know that the Mundo is on this. So sometimes you can, instead of contesting like the objective, you can just go and kill the lane. That's closest to it. Right now, the Gnar has a really, really false sense of security. You see what I mean by that? Gnar has a very false sense of security. So what Velja can do here is abuse that sense of security. Obviously, this play is very, very, like, it's still risky, but it is possible to make because of, you know, playing off the fact that, you know, he has a false sense of security. Now, he knows that he can't contest this. Velja's thinking that, okay, well, if they do this, like, I can just go for the really, really quick. It has to be a fast play. It has to be a one-shot, okay? And you can one-shot him here because look how Gnar is playing. Gnar is thinking, I want to get Prio for the objective, or I want to get Prio for the scuttle, or I want to get Prio. And creativity here, right? Now, this is a gamble for Natty because his camps are up here. His Raptors are up. His Krugs are spawning in 30. But he thinks that this play, because we have a Maokai with a flash, with an ult, because it's mini Gnar, because Gnar also has, you know, he has Merc Treads, which means that Neferi will just completely one-shot him here. Neferi also has ult. Basically, what I'm trying to say is he's considering this play to be 90% sure he thinks he can kill. And this is the judgment call. This is the hard part about jungling, right here. This is the hard part about jungling. Okay, so he actually waits here. I would prefer him to do the base recall trick, which he starts doing. Perfect. What is that? What is the base recall hack? It's just recalling here. And you're basically int checking. If you watch the Showdown review recently, we're checking if the Gnar will int. The Gnar backing off here is him not inting. The Gnar hitting tower is inting, right? So if he walks forward, we're posturing for the play. It's like a, you know, again, you're just fishing. You're like, oh, this guy will walk up. Okay, I can jump over and just kill him. Oh, this guy won't walk up. He will respect. Okay, then I just like don't cancel my recall and I just base. So very, very nice stuff from Velja here. I really like this play. He cancels his base here, right? And then he's probably just pinging here. As soon as the Maokai gets in range, boom. Now there's no way this Gnar can live, right? There's absolutely no way this Gnar can live. It's 0% chance. Unless, like, I don't know, Velja's monitor like turns off or something. And then insta base again. Okay? once again, I'm saying insta base. I'm getting a little bit hyped for it, okay? The reason why I'm getting hyped for these bases is because the amount of times I see people not value tempo, not value basing is a lot. Okay, I'm putting a big emphasis on it. Okay, so Velja is now basing. Let's take a look at what Natty is now doing on his round. So now Natty kind of, because Velja made a play, right? You can see this game is a lot like turn-based as well. You know, Velja makes a play, he gets punished for it. Then Mundo makes a play by going for the grubs. Then Natty makes a play, and now Mundo kind of has a move here. I don't think it's exactly like, it's not exactly like both junglers will guaranteed have a move because the other one makes it, but it is a little bit like when you use your tempo, you are kind of like down tempo. Like the enemy jungle has tempo over you and generally has the ability to make a move, but it's not always black or white where like, for example here, right? Like if we look at Velja does need to farm these camps, but it doesn't mean that Mundo has like a free play here. Like Velja can still react to this. It doesn't mean, yeah. So I just want to make sure we understand that as well. Okay. So back to Natty. So as you can see here, his camps are now spawning towards top side. And although I do think that is not, it's not great, it just is what it is. Okay, like, yeah, it just is what it is. And you don't want to int your own game just to make sure you're pathing towards somewhere. But I think in this game that actually does end up being a big influence. So as you can see here, right, as soon as something actually happens here, he actually immediately reacts over going to his camps here, which is interesting. It is quite interesting to see. I think it's that idea of like, you know, when you're on, this is still technically a strong side. I think his bot lane just gets kind of shit on here, and it's kind of bot gap. But good gank from, so I want to quickly watch from Velja's perspective here on this bot gank. It's the same thing again, right? He has ult. Okay, he has ult. He actually didn't use ult topside, which is very, very good to see as well that he held his ult on the Gnar kill. And now, even though this lane is like, you know, we're playing the all-in lane, right? Oops. We're playing the all-in lane, right? Which means that we have the gank set up. And so, yeah, it's back to what we said at the start. Like, the fact that Mundo's not pathing towards bot anymore, he still is playing to cover, as you can see. But, you know, the Nefiri Nautilus side, this is kind of like where they come online when they start getting ults. And it is just a bit of bot gap. It is just a bit of bot gap. So let's see what happens here. So Quinn actually makes a very nice roam to the bot side of the base. And let's just see what happens after this. See what everyone does. So in this case, why do we not see an instant base out of our Nefiri? It's just because you don't want to take that, you don't want to exaggerate with the base thing, right? Like, he doesn't want to base here when he has 600 gold here, when he can just walk to his Raptors. It's still quicker to walk to Raptors. It's still more efficient to walk to Raptors. Okay, and Mundo now makes the decision to actually, I think he actually made the decision to base, right? So now he actually fixes what we just talked about, what the problem was. The problem is that Mundo wants to path towards his bot lane. He wants to play towards the push and the poke lane. He wasn't able to do that for a round, but he actually finds a moment where he can fix it and also buy his Heartsteel. So this is actually a really, really nice space out of Mundo to not only fix his pathing, right? You see that as well. The difference between Nefiri basing here and Mundo basing here is very, very different. Mundo has an item, even though he only has 550 gold, but he's also able to fix his pathing. So very interesting stuff here as well. In terms of their decision making. Very, very good decision here from Natty, I would say. And okay, so let's see. So this is going to be another farm round. As you can see, both junglers are now going to go back to farming. And it goes back to camps up versus camps down. Our regular time or our spare time. We are currently both in regular time. We both have camps to farm. So you can see no skipping happening here. No like random things happening here, right? When we have camps up, there is nothing random happening unless they think it's a guaranteed play. Once again here as well, same thing for Natty. He's just farming. Velja is just farming. Velja is again looking for the play on top side. Once again, playing through a tank lane, you know, like I said, Velja has way more options than Natty this game, just in terms of champ identity and also his lanes. And yeah, Velja can go pretty much anywhere. If the Gnar is mini especially, it's always really easy to kill with the Maokai timing. The W, the ult. Velja does not have ult, but it's exact same. Like, it's mirrored. You can see like not mirrored, it's like rinse and repeat. It's like the exact same thing happens again, where Velja is int checking. He is recalling here. He wants to recall and head to the bot crab or the bot side if he wants. But as soon as the Gnar gives him the play, he immediately goes for it. And this time we just get the flash. But this was his spare time, right? This was Velja's spare time. He's not actually, well, he is losing the bot scuttle for it. But this is also what you want to do in your spare time, guys. Like, you want to be ganking somewhere and burning a flash here. So it's a really good use of your time still, even though you just get the flash. Great, nice, we got the flash. I'm still on tempo for my Krog spawning in 40 seconds, and all is good. All is good. All right. So, you know, we're only 10 minutes into this game, and I know I've already been speaking for 30 minutes. So maybe we'll have to just, you know, fast forward it a little bit here, and we'll get to the mid game. We'll take a look at a few things in the mid game. So here we go. So Natty, again, he's also using his spare time here, but he actually skips camps here. Okay, he actually, let's go back. So he has his wolves up here, but he skips camps for the scuttle. Okay, makes sense. Why does he skip wolves here? Because you always want to take the neutral thing. Also, when he sees that Velja is topside here, he obviously wants to, you know, like, he's using that information to say, okay, this bot scuttle is mine. I'm going to obviously go for that overtaking my wolves here because it's the neutral thing. You always want to contest the neutral thing. So we contest the neutral thing. Okay, we see that Nautilus is kind of inting here. So we want to quickly one-shot it. You see here, you see he's not like fully engaged. He wants the scuttle. He's being efficient, but he wants to do both. He wants to do both plays here. Okay, so this is kind of his spare time a little bit. I know that he has his 2 camps up here that he can do. He uses his spare time. Now he sees that there's no play. He actually wraps around for it. Very, very creative because, again, int check. He's running away here, but actually this ward allows them to int check this guy. He just walks back up, and Natty does something smart here. Pretends to leave, right? So from enemy's POV, look at it. Look at from enemy bot lane's perspective. Okay, he pretends to run away with Fog of War. He pretends to say, look guys, I'm leaving. I'm leaving here, and immediately just wraps around. I don't even think he shows on this ward, yeah. They could obviously use this ward to see that, oh, maybe he has not left, which is also why Velja is here. So here we go, party in the bot lane. Let's see how this plays out. Really nice focus from the enemy, and I think immediately Velja's team is just going to win this because they got the one shot. And yeah, honestly, also this champion, this Nefiri champion, low-key has been on my radar, and I think this is actually a really good champion for all ranks. I'm a big Nefiri enjoyer. Well, I don't actually play her that much, but I think that it's a really good champion, and I actually will want to learn Nefiri very, very soon. I think it's a really good champion. It's straightforward, it's strong, it's, you know, got really good reference points throughout the game, so I like it. And I think from this point onwards, honestly, even though this game actually goes on for a very long time, yeah, obviously it is quite one-sided now. I think that, you know, okay, let's do a quick like little mid-game review as well. Let's kind of see how Velja actually closes the game out. So if you know, you know, we're going to be talking about uptime and downtime. We're going to be recognizing how, one, how Velja plays around objectives and has always an objective in mind. Two, how he plays uptime, downtime with his team, for example here. And three, how he syncs up with his team, so his base timers. When he bases, when he greets. So let's quickly run through that. You know, unfortunately on this one, Natty, I'm just going to, you know, focus on Velja here and how he plays. So you see here, downtime. Okay, this is a clear example of it. His team is off the map, like his Malk, his Naught, and his Ryze base C. You see this? So when your team is in base, this is time for you to also base or farm. In this case, he did not have a lot of gold to base for, so he decides to actually farm here in the downtime. Now his AD carry looks like he wants to base, or his AD carry gets caught, which actually means he could base here as well, but I think he's trying to make a creative play on the bot side. Once again, he's using the int check. He's going to recall here. If they push, he kills. If they don't push and he doesn't kill, he'll recall. Really nice. Int check. Int check. Boom. Huge. Look at that. Like, look. That is really, really impressive. And how do you know to do this play, guys? You know to do this play because initially, you running into the bot side here is about you kind of basing. It's about you saying, okay, I'm going to base here because my AD carry died and we have less numbers on the map. But then it also is about reading enemy body language. Like, look at the body language here of the enemy. Look at the Caitlyn here. Just look at the Caitlyn, right? If you see the Caitlyn doing this, even that little move here, you saw her going forwards. You know, even back here when you're in the Krugs, you know that this Caitlyn or the Quinn is going to push here. And you want a base, so you want a better spot to base in. Okay? Int check. Incorporate it. Very OP, especially when you play assassins, carries. It is honestly one of the most important tools that I see the best players use. Okay? So here he actually decides, okay, we're going to stay on the map, which is good, right? You should be greedy here. Even though he has 1,500 gold, he wants to be greedy. And actually, he wanted to base there, which is a very good play, not only because he has a lot of gold, but he's also syncing up with his Yunara spawning. And even though the enemy has 2 people dead here, I guess he's kind of playing it by ear here. I do think he had the right idea to base, to be honest, because this is the problem when you play uptime when it is downtime. And this is also the problem. This is also a fundamental called the plus and the minus fundamental, guys. So right here, when you see Nah, the Nah is the top laner. Where is your top laner? Your top laner is here. So when you see this guy, even though you killed 2 of the enemy, they can technically still have a 3v3 here. And generally, top laners are more OP than supports, correct? So yeah, the 3v3 here is actually potentially winning for them. And this is also a very, very classic area where you can throw. Like, this was a pretty big throw from Velja. He gave a really, really big shutdown. And this is all to do with uptime and downtime. This is all to do with the plus and the minus. So what I meant with the plus and the minus, right, is that they actually have a plus here because the Nah is here. So you want to match where people are. If my top laner is top and the enemy top laner is bot, they can have an inherent numbers advantage because the top laner is on my screen and my top laner is. So if Maokai has TP here, it changes everything. If Maokai has TP, they just win the fight really hard, but Maokai does not have TP. So they should not gamble here, especially because he has 1,500 gold. Look at the items here, right? Yeah, he's very strong. He's building Lethaldium, so they're a little bit cheaper. But, you know, you can almost see this as like, you're not actually 6-0 here as Neferi. You're actually like way weaker or way less than your score. So it's very easy to be overconfident in these fights as well. It's the plus and the minus. If they have a plus here, we should have a minus here. We should kind of pull if they try and push here. Because we have a plus here and they have a minus here. We are going to get something for free right now. Maokai, so I'll just, you know, we already know the fight went bad, but look at what's happening top right now. If you respect here as Neferi, if Velja respects here, look what's happening. And obviously it's a Maokai, right? So not really the greatest split pushing champion, but he's still gaining something. His team is still gaining something that he should respect here. Very, very big throw from Velja, which is very interesting. Okay. So even the best players in the world, even rank 1 players make fundamental mistakes. Okay, fundamental mistakes. And this is why fundamentals are so important. Because they kind of apply to bronze players and rank 1 challenger players. It's the same thing. It's something that you're going to refine for as long as you play this game. Okay. The only thing that changes about these fundamentals is that obviously the more you play, the better you become, the more experiences and scenarios and pattern recognitions that you understand, the more you can break fundamentals, the more you can actually know that you can play for that fight because Maokai has TP, or because Nah is mini, or because Nah has 1 item, or because XYZ. You know, you're processing more information. And maybe he misplayed that. I'm not sure. But that's all good. Okay, so let's just see the next big round here of the fight. We're going to kind of just speed run the rest of the game. We're going to be, again, looking at the uptime and downtime and just about what his team is doing. So once again, the Maokai is top here, but he actually has TP. Dragon is spawning. Maokai has TP. Ryze has ult. Maokai is about to TP mid, most likely. He should. Or somewhere here. Yep, here he goes. So this time it's a different scenario. This time we actually, even though Maokai is top and Nara is bot, we have a TP. Okay, we just need to play a little bit slow because the Maokai still wants to base. Yeah, okay. So yeah, team is kind of smurfing it. It's kind of a little bit of a bot diff yeah, it's kind of a bot diff this game, not gonna lie, for Natty. This is a very hard game, 2 players, Natty. Just considering, because when you play Mundo, you're a little bit more reliant, honestly, on, you know, it's less skill expressive, it's more consistent. Okay, so Mundo's a very, very consistent champion. And I will say that. And there you go, there you go, they win the fight. Again, always having an objective in mind for Velja, so he's thinking about the objective. So the way you want to think about translating your lead, guys, like I said before, we're strong. Okay, we're strong, so we want to translate that to an objective. Okay, we want to translate to an objective because either the enemy will fight us on the objective or we will skirmish them on the objective. So translating your lead is just a lot about being the diff. Being the difference in skirmish, in a team fight, in a pick, in a, objective fight. Like, that is basically what translating your lead comes down to. Okay, interesting here, guys. We stay on the map. Why do we stay on the map here? Because our team is not done playing uptime. We're not done playing uptime because look at all the tempo lines. We're all still up here, and the enemy team still have 2 dead. But it is about to be downtime. It is going to be downtime very, very quick. Here, in a second. You will see, after they make their play, even though, okay, Caitlyn died now, so we can be a little bit more greedy. But you can see the enemies as they spawn here. We should be looking to either, as Neferi, we either want to base here, or we want to farm our camps. Because we have no camps to farm, I'm expecting him to, after this play, try and immediately base. So you can see, look, I'm some kind of, I can predict the future. I promise you guys, I didn't review this situation. But I just know how the game works. And obviously when you're in-game, this is a lot harder to see. But you need to know when it's about to be downtime because the enemy team is about to spawn. Ryze is already basing. Maokai is already basing. They are doing the correct plays. Who are the little inters here? These guys. These guys are the little inters here because we're kind of greeting for a camp here. We're not seeing that our team is basing. If we were also on the map here, this would be probably okay. If Ryze was pushing here, if Maokai was pushing here, this would be okay because our team can actually help us with this situation. But when people base, like how can we, take the learnings from this and apply it to our own game? When people base, you need to adapt. And I think Velja adapts well here. He just leaves, right? No compensation here. You see that? Look, I promise you, the amount of people that I coach that die here with their Nautilus is an unbelievable amount. Okay, an unbelievable amount here die and throw Baron, and the enemy team gets Baron. So very, very important mindset-wise is do not compensate, especially for a support, but for anyone, even if this was Caitlyn or Yunara getting caught here, you do not compensate. You play with the hand you've been dealt. So the hand you've been dealt here is that your Nautilus got caught, and maybe the enemy make a play on Baron now that you need to be alive for. Because you can still win the game even if your Nautilus dies, even if you have to give a Drake, even if they have to give this Baron, right? You have to just play the scenario out, how it should be played. And yeah, he missed the base timer here, but as we can see, his team gets back on the map. It's a little bit iffy, fighting on so much gold. But I think it just comes down to, again, his team being on the map, right? Like, if he could have based here earlier, that would have been really, really good. But he wanted to defend his top side because he missed the base timer. He just missed the bus. He missed the train. And now he has to stay because, yeah, the enemy team is back on the map and they're ready to make a move. So honestly, it's not a bad play from the enemy here. But yeah, they're just too weak. And Maokai has like an insane engage. Damn. Agurin on the Maokai, by the way, guys. Agurin on the Maokai. All right. And so I think, yeah, they get Baron. Let's see how they use Baron as well on Velja, guys. This is something we can really, really learn from how to use Baron. Again, this is not time for you to like full clear your camps here. Okay, please, guys, when you have Baron, do not just sit in your jungle full clearing. Do not. You need to play around waves. These waves right here. You need to play around waves and getting waves pushed into the enemy so then you can take control of a side, so you can take camps, and so you can kill these towers. Okay? So watch. Immediately he's running in because it's uptime. Why is it uptime? Because the tempo lines are, we're about to want to push. Okay? Do not go to your Krugs here. I mean, sometimes you can go to your Krugs here to like shadow the bot wave. Okay, they've decided that they actually want to play for top tower. Smart. I actually didn't even realize this tower was still alive. You also want to close the game out very, very like simply. Like, okay, what's the next objective? The next objective is top tower because that's the last tier 1. Okay, the next objective is the tier 2 towers. Okay, like close the game out like onion, like layers of an onion. Don't just try and steamroll through mid right now and end their nexus. That's not gonna work. Not today anyway. Maybe that used to be sometimes how the game could be played, but nowadays with plating, towers are way tankier. You cannot just do this. You cannot just steamroll down mid and hope that you just win like some fight. Okay? Play for control, play for uptime. Look what's happening here. Okay, if we are on our camps here, right? Look what's happening. So the whole point of uptime is also using your team's pressure. Okay, using your team's pressure. So if our Maokai gets ganked here, so you can see we're playing 3 lanes here. 3 lanes playing is good because we have Baron. Okay, you want to get Baron. Sometimes you can play 2 waves. 3 waves is really good as well because even if our Maokai gets ganked here by 3 people, which is actually a kind of a good play from the enemy, because we're playing uptime, we're still trading stuff and we're still gaining stuff for Maokai dying. if we were on our Grom here, we could still trade, but it would just take longer and it wouldn't be as punishing. So you know, if you have how can this apply to your game? If you have an inting Alawi here, it's just split pushing here, and you're just saying, I have an inting or Fiora or whoever it is, Olaf, right? And they're like 0-5 and they're just int split pushing. You can still use that. You just need to be using it to gain something on the opposite side of the map or something like that. And as you can see here, right, the game, even though the game, guys, very important actually that I say this, even if you are 28-9 and you are 10-1 as Nefiri, 8-1 as Nefiri, right, and your team is really hard winning, this does not mean that you just turn your brain off and autopilot and think that you win the game. As you can see here, and this applies even in your games as well, this is not just because this is a challenger game. Ending the game in League is not about trying to end the game in 20 minutes because you're really, really fed. Okay, so many times in coaching do I get the question, or do people ask me, oh, I was so fed this game, but it took so long to win. And of course, we can learn stuff in those kind of situations. But most of the time, winning is about slowly kind of choking the enemy out. Slowly. Like one objective. So look at this. Great Baron round from their team. They got 3 towers. They're not trying to just end the game here. They're not trying to just explode the Nexus on this round. We're ending the game in the layers of an onion, right? Like each layer. Now the next objective will be bot tower. It will be dragon. So if we fast forward here in the map, uptime, downtime. Look, everyone takes a base. Very nice, except for Nautilus, because he already was desynced. He's just waiting. He's just chilling. All right, everyone runs at the same time. Very, very good to see. And in your games, most of the time, in low elo, the biggest reason I see these games being thrown is people just getting caught. But if someone gets caught, just wait. Just farm, just wait, just push out a lane. Don't go and get caught with them, or don't chain int. Chain inting is the #1 reason that mid games are messed up. So look at that. Why do they play for this bot tower, guys? Why are they not just A-ramming? Why are they not just A-ramming? Because one objective at a time. Okay? And then now they kind of like just go down because I think that they killed someone, or maybe they like tried to gank Malcolm. I'm not even sure what happened there. And yeah, even here, right, we're trying to end the game too early, our team, unfortunately. But yeah, I think Velja's getting the wave. And I think we'll kind of wrap it up here, guys. You know, they end up getting a Drake still. Now they, again, the layers of the onion. Now we have 2 inhibs. So it's a very slow choke. And if you struggle with closing the game in the mid game, this is probably a big reason for it. #1, you're compensating. #2, you're just playing for kills. #3, you don't have an objective in mind. Or #4, you're trying to end the game too early and it's not a slow choke from the enemy. All right. So cool. This is a way longer video than I expected. So if you're still here, you know, that's a good job to you. I'm very proud of you. And so yeah, we'll wrap it up here. This is a very fun video to make. Hopefully, if you guys are able to learn something from this, leave a comment, leave a like, consider dropping a sub, and I'll see you guys all in future videos, in future breakdowns, in future whatever I do. All right, cool. Peace.